There are places where time does not pass in the same way, where every stone, every curved tile, every shadow cast upon the earth and ground seems to contain the echo of 1,000 lives that no longer exist. Kyoto, in the heart of 16th century Japan, is one of those places, a city caught between war and beauty, between the samurai's sword and the monk's brush. To walk its streets is to enter a world that breathes with the slow rhythm of ceremony, where every gesture carries weight and every silence holds meaning. The morning sun filters through the eastern mountains, tinting the dark wooden rooftops that stretch like an undulating sea with pale gold. From above, Kyoto appears as a living organism, composed of slanted roofs, hidden courtyards, temples emerging from the mist like silent guardians. Smoke from morning braziers rises lazily, mixing with the fog that has not yet fully dissipated. It is a city that awakens slowly, as if fearing to break the spell of night. The streets are narrow, laid out without the rigid geometry of future capitals. Here, everything flows with the irregularity of the organic. Wooden houses, with their latticed facades and sliding doors of rice paper, line up one beside the other, creating corridors of shadow and light that change with each hour of the day. Merchants have already opened their shops. Rolls of silk hang like banners in muted colors: indigo blue, dark red, moss green. The aroma of incense mingles with that of freshly cooked rice and fresh varnish on wood. A samurai advances down the street with measured steps, his sheathed katana swaying barely with the movement of his hip. His face is a mask of calm, but his eyes scan every corner, every shadow. These are times of fragile alliances and sudden betrayals. The Sengoku period has left its mark on every corner of the country, and although Kyoto is the imperial capital, its power is more symbolic than real. Warlords control the provinces, and the city lives in constant tension between tradition and chaos. But here, in these streets, life continues. A woman in embroidered kimono walks with small steps, her face powdered white, her lips painted crimson red. She is a courtesan from the pleasure district, but her presence has a dignity that transcends her profession. Behind her, a girl carries a waxed paper parasol, protecting her from the sun that now begins to warm the stones of the path. They pass a tea vendor who offers his wares in small, rustic ceramic bowls. Steam rises, drawing spirals in the still air. Further ahead, the sound of a Buddhist temple breaks through the city's murmur. It is the deep strike of a taiko drum, followed by the tinkling of bronze bells. The Kiyomizu-dera temple rises on wooden pillars on the slope of a hill, as if floating among the trees. Pilgrims ascend the stone stairway, their straw sandals whispering against steps worn by centuries of devotion. Within the precinct, monks in saffron robes recite sutras in a hypnotic litany, their voices vibrating in harmony with the sacred space. The temple's interior is shadow and gold. Light seeps through the cracks in the wooden doors, creating beams that illuminate the dust suspended in the air. The main altar is adorned with offerings: rice, sake, lotus flowers already beginning to wilt. A statue of Kannon, the goddess of compassion, observes with half-closed eyes, her smile serene and inscrutable. There is a peace here that contrasts with the outside world, a refuge where time seems to stop, where the world's suffering dissolves in incense smoke. Outside, the temple garden is a visual poem: white gravel raked in undulating patterns, rocks arranged with mathematical precision, mosses covering stones like green velvet. A small pond reflects the sky and the branches of a cherry tree that, though not in bloom, maintains a melancholic elegance. This is the art of wabi-sabi, the beauty of the imperfect, the ephemeral, the incomplete. Each element of the garden has been placed to evoke mountains, rivers, distant islands. It is a universe in miniature, an attempt to capture the very essence of nature in a contained space. As the day progresses, the streets fill with activity. In the Nishiki market, vendors hawk their wares with voices that overlap in a chaotic but musical chorus. Fresh fish from the inland sea, vegetables grown on mountain rice terraces, dried seaweed, miso paste, bamboo shoots. Hands exchange copper coins, weigh goods, wrap purchases in bamboo leaves tied with straw rope. There is laughter, arguments, a child's cry, the distant bark of a dog. But amid all this vitality, there are shadows. Beggars huddle in corners, their clothes torn, their faces hidden beneath reed hats. War has left widows, orphans, warriors without masters, ronin who wander without purpose, their katanas now objects of empty pride. Poverty and wealth coexist in these streets, so close to each other that sometimes they brush past without seeing. As evening falls, the city changes tonality. The sun descends toward the west, tinting the sky orange and violet. Paper lanterns begin to light, hung in front of tea houses and small restaurants where hot soba and crispy tempura are served. The sound of a shamisen floats from a house hidden behind a bamboo wall. The music is melancholic, each note sustained like a sigh, as if the city itself were remembering something lost. In the imperial palace, though in decline, ceremonies are still maintained. The emperor is a symbolic figure, stripped of military power, but venerated as a descendant of the gods. Courtiers wear robes of multiple layers, each color chosen according to ancestral rules of etiquette. They move with deliberate slowness, every gesture calculated, every word measured. It is a theater of forms, a dance of symbols that has survived centuries of political tumult. As night covers Kyoto, stars begin to appear above the rooftops. In the temples, oil lamps burn with flickering flames. Monks continue their nocturnal prayers, their voices now lower, more intimate. In homes, families gather around braziers, sharing warmth and food. Children listen to stories of yokai and samurai, of love and honor, of ghosts who never found peace. There is something in this city that transcends time, something that speaks of the fragility of existence, of the beauty born precisely from that fragility. 16th century Kyoto is a place where war and poetry coexist, where violence and contemplation are two faces of the same coin. It is a world that knows everything is ephemeral, cherry blossoms that last barely a week, lives that extinguish like candles in the wind, cities that can burn in a single night. And yet here, in these streets of earth and wood, in these temples of stone and prayer, in these gardens of moss and silence, something remains, a memory, an echo. A way of seeing the world that recognizes both its beauty and its sadness, and finds in that paradox not a contradiction, but a profound truth. Feudal period Kyoto no longer exists, but if you close your eyes, if you listen carefully, you can still hear the strike of the taiko drum, the whisper of sandals on stone, the tinkling of bells in the wind. Because some places do not die completely. They live in memory, in stories, in moments of stillness where past and present touch, barely, like two hands meeting in darkness.